leads us into our next topic, which might be the most fun we've had yet. Speaking of 100 million euro or pound or dollars players, I mean, Mudryk might be a flop. He might not. But let's talk about the most expensive flops in all of Europe, because this is fun. We're going to go in euros. There's a lot. Targo, who are your top three?
Well, I think my number one that comes to my mind, and I know it was one of your tops as well, is Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool to Barcelona. That one was just ridiculous. He cost them 120 million up front. They had add-ons. The total came out to 145 million euros for a player who's best known for helping knock Barcelona out of the Champions League when he was on loan at Bayern Munich, and he scores 2 goals against Barcelona. He was on their books for 4 years. He just got sold to Aston Villa for 20 million euros. Mm-hmm. So that's a loss of 125 million euros.
Yeah. For a guy who over 5 years only had 106 appearances, 25 goals and 14 assists, and like you said, was only known for knocking them out of the Champions League with Bayern Munich. And then a fall from grace to Aston Villa.
And even now, he can't get a start under Unai Emery.
No, he's a luxury bench player that doesn't even come off the bench. What a fall from grace.
That's got to be my number one.
Being a Liverpool legend at the time to the fall from grace he is at now. Was at one point coached by his former teammate, Steven Gerrard. You're right. This is awful. Awful business from Barcelona.
Then my other two I have is Angel Di Maria when he left Real Madrid for Manchester United. He was 60 million pounds, and he scored 3 goals in 27 games. He only lasted a year at Man United before he left for PSG. And at that time, he was a British transfer record, and Man United took a loss of 15 million pounds on that deal. And I remember that when they got him.
Yeah, I do too.
I thought, man, he's going to fly in the Premier League. And he started out really well and then just took a nosedive.
Yeah. I mean, it shows you what happens to people who are essentially twigs physically. Coming to the Premier League, it takes not long for them to get worn out.
So that's another one. And then, again, this one might be one of my tops as well, is Antoine Griezmann. He left Atletico Madrid in 2019 after 5 years at the club. And Barcelona paid his release clause of 120 million euros. And, he didn't do terrible. He kind of did terrible, but he didn't do too bad. He scored 25 goals in all competitions for Barcelona in the 2 years he was there before he eventually went back on loan to Atletico. And as we saw at Atletico, they recently just bought him back for 20 million euros. So that was a 100 million euro loss for Barcelona.
And arguably the best piece of transfer just acumen from Atletico Madrid.
So it was bad. Barcelona lost a lot of money
for letting their best player go for 2 years.
But
that's it.
What are your top flops that you've had?
Oh man, there's so many, and there's a lot that are still to be determined.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the one that comes to my mind is Kepa at Chelsea, the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
most expensive goalkeeper in the world.
You could also go with João Felix. 126 million from Benfica to Atleti. They used the Coutinho money or the Griezmann money to buy him. I still don't think that one makes even my top 3. My biggest one, which, I mean, most people are probably going to agree with me, is Romelu Lukaku. His transfer from Chelsea to Inter Milan for 115 mil. He only had 44 appearances in 2 years for Chelsea. 15 goals and 2 assists. and half of those, 3/4 of those, he scored in his first 10 games.
I remember he started out real high.
Yeah, real high, especially against Arsenal. Which
yep, I do remember that.
Hard to take. But immediately he came out in the press and said, "I'm unhappy here. I want to go back." And news out recently is
it wasn't quite like that, but I remember he did some kind of interview where he's like, "Yeah, I'll go back to Inter Milan."
Yeah, I'm not happy at Chelsea. I want to go back to Inter Milan. Goes back to Inter Milan, and now it's Inter Milan are saying that they don't want to pay for him, so they might send him back. He's the unwanted kid. It's an expensive transfer. We'll see. My next one, which this one's going to be a little controversial, but I think it's an awful transfer from the player's point of view. Jack Grealish from Aston Villa to Manchester City, 117 million euros, 100 million pounds. He doesn't fit into City's system. He doesn't. He is a luxury sub. He is a perfect number 10 for a team who likes to counterattack, not a winger. He's only got 7 goals and 7 assists in 59 appearances since 2001 for Manchester City.
2021.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Did I say 2001?
Yeah.
No, that's really bad. 2021, 20 years later. Yeah, it's been a terrible transfer for Manchester City. He's a bench player. He has no ambition. He likes to drink a lot. He likes to celebrate. But he's got no grit. So he doesn't fit into the system that Pep wants. And he just sits
got
on
a
the
goal
bench.
and an assist in his last 2 games.
Yes.
Or I guess 3.
Yes, but anybody in that City system should be able to score and get assists. I'm sorry. The fact that they're being talked about not finishing first is ludicrous and completely Pep Guardiola's fault. Just saying. My last one, which makes me laugh thinking about it, it's Eden Hazard from Chelsea to Real Madrid for 100 million and about 100 million cheeseburgers. Yeah, this man, he is arguably the best player in the Premier League, transfers to Madrid, and shows
What a
up
fall.
fat.
What a fall,
Shows
man.
up fat.
What a fall. Even just watching him at the World Cup this year for Belgium
So
was like,
bad.
what happened to him?
No idea. Injuries, overweight, eating a lot, drinking a lot. Now he's in Spain where the weather's nice, not in Chelsea, in London, where it's raining all the time. I'm just saying, I think it's a luxury where he's got a guaranteed contract. He's not leaving. But he really hasn't played a lot for Madrid. He's been hurt most of the time. I mean,
that one might be my number one. That's a terrible.
73
he's been hurt the whole time.
He got 7 goals and 11 assists in 4 years.
He's been there for 4 years?
Years.
Oh, man.
4 years. Yeah. And the worst thing is he's got almost as many trophies at Madrid as he did at Chelsea. And to back up now. Yeah, it's been bad. The worst part is Arsenal's been linked to him. So,
I know I saw that and I was just like, please no.
No.
Unless we get old Eden Hazard from Chelsea.
Yeah.
I don't think we do, man. Again,
I don't
after watching
think
him
we
play
get,
for Belgium.
I think you're right. We get old Eden Hazard.
I don't want old
We
Eden
don't
Hazard.
get the old Eden Hazard from Chelsea. We get just old and fat one. Yeah. That it's so bad, but there's so many more. I mean, you got Paul Pogba, that whole debacle between Juve and United. Juve lets him go for 105 million, and then gets
Nicolas
it back
Pepe
for free.
comes to mind.
Yeah, I had him on the list. I deleted it. Anthony for United, not worth 100 million. I'll tell you that. Is he the worst 100 million transfer? To be determined. He's got a lot of time left. He's young and he's got raw talent. But he's not worth 100 million. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, Ousmane Dembele, 105 million from Dortmund to Barca. He's on the fence for me. Could have been.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, he he's performed, I would say, better than all these other players we're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, he's been playing for Barcelona for 6 years.
He's been injured a lot, yeah.
And he's only got 39 goals and 41 assists in 173 games. For a player that every coach that's coached him says he's better than Messi, skill-wise.
Definitely wasn't worth the price tag at that young age.
Don't think so. So, those are the transfer flops. I mean, we'll see if Mudryk is. Personally, if he stays at Chelsea, I think he might be on this list because I don't think he fits their system. But he's a player that likes to run at defenses. He likes to go with pace.